Honorable Cornelius Witiwa, Minister of Southern Province, Zambia. Host Minister, Honorable Jack Wimbuy, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Zambia. Host Minister, Honorable Brenda Tamba, Minister of Labor and Social Security, Zambia. Her Excellency Chilishi Mubundu, the Secretary General of COMISA. Honorable Ministers responsible for migration and labor from COMISA member states present in the room. Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and permanent representatives to COMISA, distinguished representatives of UN and international organizations present in the room, distinguished delegates, invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to all of you. It is indeed an honor and a pleasure for me to address this ministerial session of COMISA Migration Dialogue taking place here today in Livingstone. And I am privileged to deliver a few remarks on behalf of IOM. My first remark is to welcome and appreciate the theme of this year's COMISA Dialogue on Migration, which is entitled Regional Reintegration Through Labor Migration in the Context of Mobility and Trade. As you can see, the theme is very much relevant to IOM mandate and contributions to migration in the COMISA space. It also adds value to the long-standing partnership that we have with the COMISA Secretariat, with which we have an MOU since 2013, updated earlier this year. MIDCOM has been the centerpiece of our cooperation. And over the years, it has proved to be a well-established platform for advancing cooperation on migration and advocacy for regional integration. The case for cross-border trading and the benefits that it brings along has already been well established in terms of the transfer of small capitals, business knowledge, and job creation. And the same has been captured by the Global Compact for Migration, GCM, which calls on member states to leverage on their migration cooperation and harness the benefits of regional integration and identify innovative solutions to promote trade, investment, and cross-border exchanges. This is very much at the root of the COMISA protocol on free movement of persons, labor, and services, concluded in 2002. And I may take this opportunity to ask for an active ratification and implementation of that protocol. My second remark is to recall that Africa trade is mostly internal and continental, across Africa. And the cross-border trade in particular is dominated by small African traders who are, by the virtue of their business model, are mobile population. They move from one country to another, bringing benefits, capital, and knowledge. And my call today is to support these exchanges through a number of measures that you can consider. First among them is to facilitate their safe, orderly, and regular move. And not only that, to make their transactional costs in terms of time and money much less, that require consideration of long-term visas, require pass borders to be issued to them so that they can move in and out. It requires the recognition of the benefits that they bring, not just on the trade, but the social exchanges and the social interactions that happens across borders. Another important consideration is gender, because 70 to 80% of these movements are dominated by migrant business women. And this call on us to identify gender-sensitive solutions, mitigate the challenges that they come across in terms of vulnerabilities, and also enhance the social protection that they need. Another important measure would be to end the informality associated with cross-border trading, because it is basically a very informal process and is hardly regulated. We don't call for 100% regularization, because that may bring the risk of losing the flexibility that needed for such trade to grow, to blossom, and to expand. So we need to strike the right balance between ending the informalities and bringing some interdisciplinary support to such movements. Another consideration is the removal of tariff and not tariff barriers, and replace that with incentives related to currency, related to visa costs. Free visas is always the best, and reducing some of the money that small traders need to pay as they come in and out of the border. One takeaway from the COVID time is the integration of health protocol into cross-border movements, so that these movements are healthy and the people move safely and orderly. And drawing from that integration, hopefully it will not just stop with health, but includes the customs and the other services that are provided at the border entry points, and have a more integrated and a single migration space in which all these processes could be conducted. In short, this is all about how IOM define cross-border traders as business migrants, and we call for a right-based approach that would recognize them as right holders entitled to due process, and that their rights should be protected regardless of their migration status. This is something that the GCM has brought up front, and member states subscribe to it. and with that, the access to the basic and social services that are needed. My third remark is to renew IOM commitment within the framework of regional integration and migration to the principle that humane and orderly migration benefits migrants and societies. And in that context, migration should be seen as a critical development enabler, and member states mainstream migration into their national development planning, a requirement that they have subscribed to as part of their commitment to implement SDG 10.7, which commit member states to safe, orderly, and regular migration. Migration should also be seen as a significant contributor to regional integration through the remittances that migrants send back, the knowledge that they bring to the places that they work, and the best practices that come with these exchanges. The harmonization of migration policies and practices among the different countries would facilitate the free flow of movements. And here we call for the gradual removal of standalone border control posts and to increasingly move towards a one-stop border shop processing that has been piloted in several parts of Africa. So the knowledge, the experience, and the learning already exist, and we just need to expand on that. And on that note, I renew the urge for member states to consider the ratification of the African Continental Trade Agreement and the protocols related to it in terms of right to establishment and right to residence, the establishment of a single African airspace market would be a game changer. So there is a homework that all of us needs to do, and IOM stand ready to be of support, working with the African Union, but also with the RECs in the different parts of the continent. Let me end my remarks by one more time renew our commitment to advancing trade, regional integration, and cross-border benefits that come with that. I would like to thank the government of Zambia for hosting us here this week and facilitating the works of our conference. I also extend the same appreciations to the combined team of COMISA Secretariat and IOM colleagues who come together and provided the necessary secretariat support for this meeting to happen. This is the second ministerial meeting. It is already an important landmark in terms of progressing and working together. It happens within the framework of the SAM project, the Southern Africa Migration Project, which brings an interesting implementation framework where IOM, ILO, UNHCR, and UNDC come together to implement this framework. And on that note, I would like to recognize the presence of the UNHCR Director for Southern Africa, Valentin Tubosa, who came with this sense of a strong partnership. And I would also like to thank all the delegates for the hard work that they have put in the past few days to prepare the recommendations that will be considered by their excellencies, the ministers today. Key among them is emphasis on data management and statistical labor information to be collected and shared and inform and provide evidence basis for what you do. A monitoring and evaluation system will help us to track progress and spot bottlenecks that needs to be removed. Border management and integrated border management services is another area of recommendation, but also the best practices that would come among all of you, but also from as far as needed in terms of South-South cooperation. With those words, I thank you for your attention.